This is what I've been waiting for. Yeah, the Vibe marketing stack. I have not been a builder for long. That is roughly a bit over a year, but I've been in the marketer or growth role since essentially the last 15 years. And my brain merged from what I learned about vibe coding. I introduced this in my marketing thinking. And today I want to show you the tool stack and workflow that I use that is really AI native. I'm not down with any tools that I cannot mostly control with an agent. Everything else just takes too much time, has too low quality, and I need something that also works for me day and night. I think you do too. So let's dive in. Now, as always, you can read this article, you can watch it on YouTube, you can listen it on the podcast. A lot of the interactive stuff is best experienced on the article. So if you're listening to this, have fun. I'll explain everything, but read the article later. Part 1. Lots of people are either on the build or the growth side, but our mantra at Pirate Skills is build, grow, repeat. It is building and growing. And when you're coming from the builder side, it feels, when you get overwhelmed with all of these billion new marketing tools you're supposed to learn now, that you have to start all over again. And I understand that. It's a lot to take in, but it is also a shit ton from the people coming from the growth side who learned the building and vibe coding part. Let's not forget that. Both of these disciplines are incredibly well established because they're the key functions of building a business. And so let's not be surprised if this is a bit much. Yeah. And these are all of the tools I'm going to introduce you to that I use for my vibe marketing stack, but you don't have to do it all. This article is more for the people who are now ready to take this idea of vibe coding plus marketing to the nth degree. If you feel overwhelmed by this, no problem. I created an article called the Calm Builder Funnel that just helps you to define one channel, have one great customer journey, and sell one thing. Go there if this feels crazy. If you want to go mad like me, really embrace that AI can now take this idea of having a small but mighty team to like an insane level of what one person is possibly able to do. Stick with me here. And these days we call it vibe marketing because it's the mixture of what we could now do, like with agent-driven development, apply that to marketing flows. And I have defined 8 layers that I take you through step by step. And the worst thing you can do is not getting started with this. Yeah, you don't have to do everything at once, but one step at a time. Layer 1. Planning and orchestration. Before you do anything with any other tool, you still have to have a decent plan. How to create a decent growth plan, I'm discussing in depth in the growth roadmap section in the growth codex. But for now, choose an AI IDE. What the hell am I talking about? I'm talking about something like Cursor or Claude Code that goes beyond ChatGPT, where you can speak and text files and code and images are being generated, and you create an environment that you can control and it can interact with all of your tools. This is your central hub. It's the same thing that we discussed in the vibe coding stack here. If you want to read that, I linked that article for you. But the central piece, you need to decide on what is my AI tool. For me, that is Cursor, and in that I have Claude Code running, and I'm connecting it to a lot of MCP servers that I will discuss in a moment. And it has certain processes and skills that really help me with marketing. Now, once you've chosen that, you need to pick something like a project management tool. I'm choosing linear. You can see a screenshot if you're reading or watching this here of my Kanban board with all of my planned projects, the ones that I'm working on this week and the ones that I've already completed. And when I have completed them. And it was not always me who completed them. It was either me, Cursor, or Claude, or now my new OpenClaw assistant, Christina, which I will get to in a second. What you need is a place to organize yourself because there is always more to do than you could possibly do. So you need to really prioritize. And I'm not asking you to now become this project management person. I'm asking you to ask the AI to become your project management person. None of these projects and issues in there were documented by myself. I just speak with Christina. She sets up the project. Or when I'm in Cursor, I can do that same thing there as well. And it's all driven by the content skill, mostly, and the event management skill. And I'll show you a lot of that and help you to look behind the scenes. But choose a task or project management tool of your choice. Yeah, my recommendation is Linear. Then get on board with Autonomous Agent. Everyone is talking about OpenClaw, and that is for a reason. There's such a big difference in having to open your code editor like Cursor and being on your laptop, or just being on the way, speaking to Telegram or WhatsApp and seeing work done behind the scenes. Having it on a heartbeat schedule that triggers every hour, checks your to-do list, and does things for you proactively. Yeah, that is probably the biggest game changer in vibe marketing that happened in the past few weeks. And I need you to get on board with that as early as possible. There are, to me, a couple of levels in the AI skill. Level 1 would be like, I'm good with ChatGPT. Level 2 is I'm using an AI editor. Level 3 is I'm using an autonomous AI agent like OpenClaw. You need to try to rise yourself to this level, because now you have a central manager of your things. It's connected to your CRM, to your database, to your billing tool, to your social media profiles, and it can do literally 80-90% plus of what you needed to do before, and you can focus on what makes you and your brand unique and human. So in this first segment on orchestrating and planning, I choose personally Cursor. I have Claude Code running in it because it's the best model and gives me the most tokens for the money. Then I have OpenClaw running as my independent assistant, and I'm managing my projects and everything in Linear through those AI agents. Yeah, I'm not becoming this crazy project management person. I've discussed all of this also in depth in the Meet Jarvis article, on vibe management, if you're interested in going deeper there. That is layer 1. Orchestrate and use AI to do it for you. Stop just working with ChatGPT. Layer 2. Content marketing. This is the backbone of everything that is visible of your brand. Your website, your newsletter, your blog post, your podcast, your social media, most of the early stage touch points are affected by content marketing. And the first thing I would recommend, this is more process than tools, is decide your rhythm. I'm running on 2 cycles. Every month, I'm hosting 1 offline event, 2 online events, and 1 sales event, those 4. You don't need to run 4. 1 is totally fine, but events I will come to again and again are one of the strongest lead magnets and trust building elements you can leverage for your business. This is my monthly cycle, 4 events, across 4 weeks. This is the macro cycle. The micro cycle is 1 week. This 1 week is where I really think about what am I going to publish for real. And here you can see the cascade I'm doing every single week. I'm writing an article, making a long form YouTube video out of that, like the one you might be watching right now. And then I extract a podcast out of that. I send it out as a newsletter. Those are the big, powerful, long form content pieces for people who are already like in the middle of the funnel, who are looking for more depth about you, your brand, your product. But you need to break these long form content pieces into smaller, more snackable pieces you can post throughout the day. So all of this stuff at the beginning goes out on Monday. But then I'm posting video shorts, graphics derived out of the article, infographics, and slides that are all, guess what, supportedly generated with the help of AI, but based on the article where I gave it the depth and opinion. I'll dive deep into that. So that is the first thing. Decide on your cycle and like the formats you want to publish. These are mine. Feel free to steal them. Then you need to teach your AI about this process. You can just do it once manually and then ask it to create a skill, which I will show you in a second, exactly what my weekly content flow skill is. And that allows the AI to remember your preferences and to guide you through a process of it all. Yeah, for example, for me, it knows that I want to do some pre-planning, looking at the week. Do I have any upcoming events I need to create content for? And since I'm doing one growth lab and one builder lab a month, I need to have the right article launched in the growth week for the growth topics and vice versa for that. So this article will be discussed in depth with the community on Wednesday after I've published this article. Today, it's Friday. Now, there's a bit of a system to create those, but Anthropic has made it incredibly easy by creating a so-called create skill that you can invoke in any tool like Claude Code or Cursor with any model that you like, and it will build a process document for you, telling the AI after you've done what you wanted it to do, how to repeatedly do that. And whenever I don't like something about the process, I correct it. So I go through 5 stages and I have the AI guide me through it. The pre-planning and an in-depth concept. This is the most important thing in the success of your content marketing. Have something valuable to share. That needs to have a strong concept. Then I do the planning, the production, and the publishing, always in collaboration. Now, how do those skills look like? If you click this button here, read the full skill, I am literally giving you my content skill. Why would I just give that away? Because I believe everyone needs to create their own skill. It's just helpful to see someone else's, but you cannot copy paste this for you and make this your thing. Let's just go through this really quick. Yeah, it explains like the order in which I like to do things, that I wanted to track the progress because this is a very long process and the AI sometimes forgets, or I want to start a new conversation. I wanted to document everything that I do in a certain format, and I wanted to keep track of all of the assets we create, the YouTube videos, the email campaigns, the podcast, so it can later references these for future cases. Then I have it plan out the complete week in terms of post. We post 7 days a week. You do not need to go as crazy. You can do a monthly cycle and say you post once or 3 times a week. But this is a full creator schedule that I need to take about 8 hours of my week to create the article, fine-tune everything, record everything, schedule, and host an event. So it's about 2 hours of event hosting and 6 hours of content creation. Yeah, and that is enough for really in-depth content throughout the week. And you can tone that down if you like, or ramp it up. Yeah, but this is the limit I'm willing to do. I want to do the work. I don't want to just talk about the work. So every Monday, it's very clear that I do the big content drop with the article, the podcast, the email. Tuesday, I have a carousel about it. Wednesday, I do upcoming event announcements. Thursday, I do an infographic. Friday, I do show a cool tool moment. Yeah, always in the context of what I've written about. Then on Saturday, I highlight the podcast because I'm creating that anyways. And on Sunday, I'm doing like a more in real life post, sharing with people what's up in my life. That is really done phase by phase. Yeah, I initialize this skill, say, hey, we need to plan week 12. Yeah, that's the next week I need to plan. And then it asks me questions like, hey, what do you have coming up? It looks into my calendar. It asks me and looks online into the poll results from previous articles, scans the news. And then we have a deep discussion about the concept. This is one of the key phases where you as a human are a much, much, much better judge than the AI, what is actually valuable to communicate to your audience, to your other humans. And we really refine that into a title and subtitle, approve the outline, and then we plan everything. Yeah, there is a deep interview process that runs beforehand, before the AI now goes into a draft mode of this article, publishes that after I've given a ton of feedback and I'm really happy with what it does. And then I create the video and all the good stuff. Yeah, I'm taking along. Whenever I don't like something about this, yeah, or I find like a post format is boring, I tell it to just fix the skill, yeah, by making these and these changes. So the skill gets better every week. And another great thing about these skills is that you can relate to other skills. So for example, I have a pirate story skill that really defines the brand voice and story framework that we are going for. So when it's writing the way I want it to write, and that I think is ideal for my audience. Then I have other skills on how to create those emails, how to get the podcast data, and this is insanely helpful. I see myself in this whole vibe marketing thing, setting up a skill almost daily. Whenever I do something and I notice I'm doing it 2 times, 3 times, and I started pulling AI into it, and I'm onboarding Christina, the OpenClaw assistant, I create a skill for it. Yeah, you essentially always need a skill when the AI can't just do it by itself because it needs additional context, or you prefer a certain process that the AI wouldn't go through anyways. You just say, use the create skill to do this and that. Yeah, and it will do it. It will even help you optimize it and make sure that it's triggered when you use the right words. Insane. This is skills. So now let's go into the most important piece when doing this whole vibe marketing thing in my weekly cycle. That is producing a long form content piece that allows you to inject real soul into your conversation. We want to avoid AI slop like a plague these days. Everyone can create AI slop. But it will stand out insanely if you inject your personality and your specific expertise and your understanding of the problems of your audience and what you can do for them. And this is, I call, injecting soul. And then you use AI to give it wings and to scale up that promotion, because you don't need to do everything yourself. Similar to delegating it to a team. But these days, I'm incredibly thankful that I don't have to delegate so many tasks anymore to so many people. Saves me a lot of mind space, headache, and money. So what can you do to create really strong content? In my opinion, any long form content that suits your natural style of thinking. I love writing, so an article is my first long form thing. Maybe you're better just ranting in front of the camera or spitting into the mic. Find the way you have a very, very natural expression and use that as the corner piece. It doesn't have to be an article, but let me make an argument for an article. An article gives you the space to think slowly, make an argument, outline it, review it, make changes. That is really hard to do on the spot on camera. So I take this time to really make the argument, and now you see me rant about the argument that I'm making and using it as a context to guide my free speech. I'm not reading anything here from the prompter. And you have to find that format that lets you inject soul into your content, into what you talk about, about what you become known for. Now, everything afterwards, can be heavily assisted. For example, I'm writing these Captain's Insights article on my Next.js app. That is what I replaced my WordPress with. It is a web framework that I completely command with AI. And I do not use any fixed blogging frameworks like WordPress or Substack. Not even for the technical folks here using MDX. I started with that, and it turns out it's just limiting me into old school thinking about articles. I can now just vibe code the entire article, create new experiences like this collapsible skill that I share here, that I can turn into reusable components later if I want that. But since the article is like completely custom coded, just with some guidelines based on what I've done in the past, and what my preferences are, I'm completely free to combine content and code, and I cannot go back from that. Now, the articles just with text would look pretty stale. Yeah, these images like these, or like the cover image that you saw up here, that is what is giving it a much more expressiveness. And for that, after you have managed the text and formatting thing, you need to learn how to do image and video generation. There are a couple of tools that, again, have been incredibly helpful here in this journey. The one that no one can live without anymore is Canva. Yeah, it's the basic tool where we have all of our brand kit in here, reusable icons, our colors, fonts, etc. All of the static and just animated text assets gets created in Canva. If I need fancy AI images and videos like you just saw, I use Fel AI for it. I use whatever the latest, greatest model is. It's at the moment Nano Banana 2. And for video, for me, I have a strong preference for VO 3.1. I just go to Fel AI. No, I don't even do that anymore. I tell the agent like Christina or in Cursor or Claude Code, I just tell, use my Fel AI API key, read this article, you have my prompt library with the image style that I like, create 4 variants of these article covers. And then I get 4 very distinct visuals, and then I choose the one I like the most and usually do like 1 or 2 more iterations where I tell it about my preferences. Now, whenever I find a prompt that is great, I tell it to remember this prompt for the future. So I have a library of prompts that I'm happy with, and it can abstract that over time to create more and more consistent graphics that you like. And I've made such a progression journey from the images I created like 12 weeks ago to how they look like now, just because I got better, but also because I understood my preferences better and better. Now, then there might be cases where you need sounds or your voice as an AI replica. Then 11 Labs is great. 11 Labs lets you clone your voice. Yeah, this is not a cloned voice in case you're asking yourself. But let's say I forgot to add like a call to action at the end, that I can easily use my 11 Labs voice clone to speak this small segment and I have no problem. Or I want to voice over a slideshow or an infographic. I could easily do that now. It also creates great sounds and music, and it has a full studio that also lets you create images, lip syncs, and videos now, kind of making it into one much more user-friendly version of Fel AI, but Fel AI is still like the best thing that your agent can use, and 11 Labs is the best thing that I, as a human, am using for AI video, image, sound generation. Now, how do I edit my videos? In B2B, I found that these types of explainer videos are providing the best value for the audience. Essentially, you want to share your screen and go through your product, go through your thought process like I'm doing right now. And you might be familiar from a tool like Loom, where you see like in a little circle, the head, and then something is being explained. This is the current preference for most people of how to get to know like a product or service. And I use Riverside for that. It's great for talking head. It's actually my podcast hosting platform. It just turns out to have one of the best AI editing experiences. And what I really like about it, I'm currently recording my screen and my face, and it's not burned into the image. If I later want to make the 16:9 video into a 3:4 for Instagram or a 9:16 for TikTok, I can easily do that because the entire source, the video from my face and the recording of the screen is perfectly preserved independently of each other. Wonderful experience. Didn't expect that to become my main video editor. If I need a little bit more fancy stuff, I usually use CapCut for that. Now I have created the content, the graphics, the images, the words. Now, how do I publish all of this? Social media planning can be incredibly annoying if you have more than one channel. Just managing like LinkedIn, that's okay for everyone. Yeah, by now we are kind of used to that. But with GetLate, which is a fantastic, more like developer-friendly tool that has a great MCP server, which allows my AI to use it, I can publish on LinkedIn and YouTube and Pinterest and TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and even goddamn Blue Sky and Threads at the same time. My focus channels are clear, LinkedIn and YouTube, and I create independent optimized content for those two channels. Everyone else gets copy-paste love, and I'm totally fine with that. And I'll see what's happening. For example, I didn't expect TikTok to perform as well as it does. I didn't expect YouTube Shorts to perform as well as it does. But Pinterest doesn't do much for me now. Blue Sky doesn't do much for me now. But hey, let's see. Let's give it a couple of weeks. Doesn't cost me any extra time using this. And since it's a developer tool, it's developer priced, means it costs like a fifth of what the normal marketing tools cost you. You could literally manage a group of 100 profiles for probably $30 with GetLate. So imagine a case like you want to do the same content, but in 6 different languages on 10 social profiles. So that's 60 profiles. Easily done with a social planner like GetLate, and all of the synchronization and translation can get done by the AI in 11 Labs. We live in an insane world. So enjoy that. Now, once you've created all of that content, it's important to also send it out to the people who already know you. This is where your newsletter comes in. Even the newsletters I now vibe coded. They are an abstract of the long form article in which I injected my soul. And I usually have 2 segments, the article abstract that really gives value to the newsletter reader, with a call to action to read the full thing or listen to the podcast or watch the YouTube video, which results into subscribers, likes, engagement, downloads, and all the good things we marketers like. And also a call to action section that converts them to the upcoming events, whether they are free or paid in the customer journey. let's wrap up this section on content marketing. My must-have tools are Canva, FellAI, Riverside, and GetLate. Yeah, can't live without them, but they all wouldn't be half as powerful if I would not be using them through Cursor, Claude Code, OpenClaw. This is the true unlock in Vibe marketing. And I just choose the tools that have the best access for the agents these days. Some of them I do not use with agents, like Riverside, for example, but it's just a matter of time until that is unlocked as well. It is something you get started with, where you do a lot of manual labor and you just take the thing that is most agent-friendly and you are most annoyed by, you wrap it into a skill, and week by week, you do less and less of the shit you don't like anymore. And you become a powerhouse over time. Just get into the progress, get into the process here, and you will be amazed what happens in 12 weeks. Why am I always saying 12 weeks? This is the 12th week in which I'm in this content publishing cycle. And now I'm ready to share the process because it's gotten really good. All right, let's continue with layer 3, ad campaigns. The good thing about organic content, it's free. The bad thing is you probably are not happy now already with the amount of traffic and leads that just come in organically. This is the problem that ad campaigns solve for you. You can borrow the attention from other platforms who already have your audience. You can do ads on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Google, YouTube, and get people in front of the great content you just created organically that should naturally upgrade them to the next stage in the customer journey. If you have been wondering, like, okay, but which channels are the right ones for me? I'm discussing that in depth in the Growth Codex in the lesson on Traffic Channel Compass. But if you want to hear my short opinion, if you get good with Meta and Google, you are golden. Yeah, if you tend towards like very high priced B2B products, more enterprisey sales, think about LinkedIn. If you have a cool product for B2C customers, also consider TikTok. But for starters, start with Meta, add Google, then the rest. No matter if you're B2B or B2C. And I'm just speaking from spending like hundreds of thousands, on these platforms. So what you need is cool ad creatives. You can use AI to generate creatives, but in my opinion, the best performing creatives are talking head videos. So versions of you explaining, sharing your screen, explaining your product. But if you're not comfortable with that, images created based on templates in Canva or AI generated images and videos as you can see them here right now on the screen, or if you're watching or reading this, is what works. They are essentially giving people a promise, saying something like, hey, this is where Cologne learns to build, grow, and automate with AI. Join the next Vibe Coding Cologne event on Wednesday. Click this button here. And people will click, they will go to your website, they will love what they see, they will convert. So what converts, is events. You can have static lead magnets like downloadables. I think the only thing that could kind of compete at the moment with online events is probably quizzes. They are just working like crazy. So when you are having like a B2B product and you want to get those stakeholders and decision makers together, speak about what's important to them. This is, again, just base it on the article that you have written that week, that month, and discuss it in an event, in an online event like a Zoom meeting, Google meeting, whatever you like. And what you can expect when you do ads on them, that you pay about $10 per lead in a B2B area. In B2C, you should be more like €2 to €3. With Pirate Skills, I'm paying between 2 and 8 euros with an average of about 4 per lead. I'm aiming to create interesting creatives that are clicked more than 1%, ideally 2%. And when they're on the landing page, I expect 10 to 20% of the people on my landing page that came from cold traffic to convert. Conversion means they submit any kind of contact form on my website. I have proper conversion tracking set up through my analytics tool that I'm going to show you in a second. So this is what you want ads for. Promote your content that leads to a lead magnet that gives you the contact data of interested people, so you're allowed to keep nurturing them through newsletters, email automations, and your sales team. That's it. This is what ads are good for. Again, to wrap up the ads section, Meta ads, Google ads are the perfect starting points, and they are infinitely deep. Once you make good experience on either of these platforms, you can stay there until you spend $1,000 a day. And you will still have just scratched the surface of these ad platforms. It's really insane. All right, layer 4. People need to go somewhere after they click. They need to go to your website. And they come through 2 sources. Either they come organically through recommendations, your social media, link in the bio, SEO, and whatnot, or they come through methods like paid advertising or outreach campaigns. But your website needs to have certain attributes and it needs to be easy to create. If you cannot create a landing page, I used to say in a day. That is ridiculous to me now. I used to say always, if you can't create a landing page in a day, then you have a crappy WordPress setup. Yeah, and still stand to that. But if I take more than an hour to create a new landing page, I think what's wrong with me? Yeah, what is going on? Is something broken in my AI? I usually need 10 minutes to get to the first draft, and then I take half an hour, really give detailed feedback. Process that back into a skill, so next time it takes less time, and it's even better. And better is just measured by the conversion rate on your landing page. And the best way to optimize your landing page conversion rates is to make it specific to what you promised your customer. Invite them to an event. Do not send them to your homepage. Send them to the event landing page. Don't have an event landing page. Build one with AI. This is the next topic. All of what you see on pirateskills.com is vibe coded in Next.js and Claude code in Cursor. Everything. The event registration experience, every article, literally everything. It's no more WordPress or Webflow behind the scenes. I explained this entire process in my so far most beginner-friendly tutorial called AI for Muggles if you're interested in how to set this up, even if you have zero technical background. So I chose Next.js as a very stable web framework. It is just certain standards and things that it solves that I am very likely going to run into now or even in the future. It is well SEO optimized, it is super fast, and I couldn't be happier with it. Next.js is largely maintained by a company called Vercel, which makes their money with hosting. So I'm hosting my Next.js page on their hosting service. So this combination I can absolutely recommend. You can use alternatives, all good. Of course, if you have an e-commerce store, stay on your Shopify. You can vibe code your Shopify. There's now even a lovable Shopify integration, so you can super intuitively vibe code your Shopify store in Lovable. Insane. Layer 6. When people are on your website, the main goal is that they sign up, that you reveal who they are, that they reveal to you, yes, I'm interested in what you have to say. Here's my contact data. And before that, before Vibe marketing, we used to have things like HubSpot forms on our website. We even touted HubSpot because it was so great that if they submitted this HubSpot form on the next lead mag, the form field, you have a decent chance that it's already pre-filled. But it's still a form. Yeah, it's not a proper web app login experience like you would expect on any platform that you visit these days. You expect to have like a nice social login like Google, LinkedIn, GitHub, press a button, be logged in, or alternatively put in your name, email, and address. But once when you're logged in, you can always sign in again. If you could forget your password, you can reset it, but you could throw everything into one password and don't have to think about logging into this platform anymore. About 50% of people choose the Google sign-in I offer over the email, and I use Clerk for that. Clerk is a great provider also, especially like for us vibe coders who haven't built any type of like authentication system, where you can just say they have fantastic skills, an MCP service where you say, hey, could you please install the skills for Clerk? And now I want a proper login experience on my website. And it will take you by the hand, create this for you, and now people can log in and stay signed in. And now you know who's on your website. And if you have another lead mag, another event, they do not have to register again or fulfill another form. They just can press one button and they get the download, they get the event registration. And now you can personalize the experience for users to a much, much stronger degree. You know who's not logged in should be driven towards free goodies that help them to be logged in. But a logged in user who hasn't purchased anything should be directed to like entry-level product. Somebody who purchased an entry-level product can be directed towards a higher revenue offer. Easy cheesy. And behind the scenes is a database. Yeah, database, here you have a screenshot, yeah, of my user table, of my database. It's just a spreadsheet. Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, with columns and rows, and each row is a different person. And I just screenshotted so you can see that I can track where people are coming from, what they signed up with. Those email people used email, Google people used Google. But here I can see, that person came from the Instagram reel when I did the Forge Preview lead campaign. This person just typed in pirateskills.com. This one came from Startplatz. This one came from ChatGPT. This one came from meetup.com. This one came from the Produktwerker podcast. And you normally do not get this level of attribution because either your developer doesn't want to do it or your WordPress Webflow website is not allowing you to do this deep enough. There are always workarounds. I've been in this game for 15 years and I've built those workarounds, but it was so hard to explain this to other people. And now I can just say, do it, make it so. I test it, I give it feedback if it's not what I like. And everyone who signs up lands in my Supabase database, and I can not only see them on my website, I can see them use the product. I can see them join events. I can see them going through courses and workshops and see the progress they're making. I can completely talk differently to each and every person. So get on board with having your own custom coded website with something like Next.js, and a database with Supabase and an authentication system like Clerk. That's the way, that's the world we live in. Yeah. And the goodie you get for going through this madness are things like this: perfectly attributed data. I think that is like one of the favorite things that we have. And you know what? I can now speak to Claude Code and say something like, hey, look at my ad campaign data with this MCP server. From this campaign, filter out everyone from our database who came from that campaign and figure out if they became a customer. And now compare the cost I had with the revenue I made and make a beautiful explainer, table, chart, diagram, dashboard, slideshow, whatever I want. And it just happens. It just happens. That is the vibe marketing dream that you can live in. You just have to wrap your mind around these concepts. All right. Layer 6 of 8. It's almost over. Analytics and optimization. You already saw I'm an analytics geek. I love the database as my source of truth. But the next best thing is PostHog. PostHog gives me the details. Here you have my Vibe Codex funnel, Builder Codex funnel, and I can see exactly how many people entered, completed the registration, came to the thank you page, did another additional step that I wanted them to take. I can see where they come from. I see that over time I could split down desktop versus mobile, customers versus non-customers, and anything I like. Good thing, PostHog has an MCP server, so I never created any one of these dashboards. I just say, hey, I need this dashboard with these graphics. You can just say, hey, build a reasonable dashboard to start with, and then you can give it feedback. And whenever you need to measure something that normally took like convincing of a developer to do, like a sign up, a purchase, a login, a quiz interaction, anything you want, you can just say that to Cursor and it's building that into you. Incredibly generous free tier. It's 1 million events that is included in PostHog. It is the perfect replacement if you ever used Google Analytics before. And it's a dream. It has built-in A/B testing that I, again, just vibe code now, where I say 50% of people should see this, 50% that, do message testing, do different conversion optimization moves. All vibe-coded events set up for me, reported back to me. And I could just talk to Christina or Claude Code to get the results later and have support in interpreting them if I don't feel yet comfortable with that. Then I have session recording. Yeah, you can, in PostHog, yeah, you can watch people do what they do on the website. They enter on a mobile device, then you can see like a mobile screen, see how they scroll and interact with forms. You can see where they get stuck. You get lots of ideas how to improve the experience. So I couldn't speak highly enough of this tool, and their tendency is to be more and more generous and cheaper and not turning into this awful enterprise bullshit that we startup founders sometimes just get caught with, and suddenly everything costs multiple hundred of bucks. That is analytics, and the combination of the database that I have plus PostHog is all I need. PostHog is also what I use to communicate any conversion events to Meta ads or Google ads. It has a wonderful data pipeline that you can set up with as much detail and way more detail than you ever used to be able to do before, except you put like weeks in, and now it's like an hour or two of setup. Level 7. Now people have been on your website, they submitted the form, you can track, you know where they're coming from. Now you need to convert them. You need to keep nurturing them, you need to keep building trust. And this is what I mean like by building message sequences. This is usually done by emails. And there are like 2 types of emails I do. I do a weekly newsletter. Here you can see my screenshot from the last broadcast I sent out last Monday or this Monday. I can see how many people I sent this to, that I got like a 39% open rate, almost 5% click-through rate, 0.26% opt-outs, which is totally fine. Send as many emails as you can without going over 1% of unsubscribe rates. And people ask me sometimes, Ben, how often should I send emails? Minimum, absolute minimum is once per month. The normal maximum is once per week for newsletters, because you also want to be able to send some other transactional emails if people act on your website. But the real thing is, do not go above 1% unsubscribe rate per set of a big newsletter blast. So the second type of mails are automated email sequences. So if you sign up for an event, I send out 3 mails. Yeah, say, welcome to the event. Here are the Zoom link data. Join the WhatsApp group. And then the morning of the event, I send a reminder. And then after the event, I send people automatically the recording. And I vibe coded the system that automatically goes to Zoom, gets the recording link and the password, puts that into the email, and sends that to the user. Isn't that insane? All of this crap I had to do before manually is getting eroded step by step. I'm building my own software and my own agents and skills to get rid of everything that is distracting me from the core, which is injecting soul and leading the AI to give it wings. And all of these email templates are vibe coded because I use a standard that is called React Email that my email provider Resend kind of builds on top, and I can just let it create it, preview it for me, and use the article as the essence for that, or the information about the lead magnets I have, and it writes better email than anything I could have done before, and it has light and dark mode, which I just love. And Resend is my replacement for what I used before, which was like HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, MailChimp. It's much cheaper, more powerful, and just talks to my agent. Then, in order to space out these emails in these sequences, I use a tool by Vercel called the Webflow Dev Kit. You can use something like initn or make to space that out. That is maybe some of the drawbacks of using like a full-fledged CRM like HubSpot, where you could do this in a simple visual editor and space out the emails. But there are pros and cons, to everything. So Resend plus the Workflow Dev Kit are my picks for my whole email sequencing motion, which leads us to the last thing. It's not enough that people are now chilling in your mailing list or on your WhatsApp community. They need to become customers to make this business sustainable. And what you want to do is introduce a layer to convert your best fit customer with a little bit of help. You can go the full crazy mode HubSpot. Then you kind of need a person to manage a tool. I prefer to have the database as my source of truth for everything that is like lightweight and self-checkout in terms of lead to sales conversion. And then I use a very lightweight Notion style CRM called Attio, which again has an incredibly generous free tier that has a great MCP server. And now whenever I see great leads come into the system that I can even have selected by an agent like Christina, and it looks at those people, does some background research, sees if they are a good fit based on their activity, and then they are created as deals in a pipeline. And if you are more enterprise salesy or selling more expensive things than $1,000 or more than $300 a month, there's a very high probability that people want to talk to you. And here's a screenshot from my so-called Explore pipeline, where new people coming in are like promising, then they book the demo, then they get an offer, then I won or I lost the deal. And this is what you want to have. And I use Christina to help me hunt those diamonds. And she is looking through the pipeline for me every day and telling me, hey, this deal is hot, this deal is stale. Can you give me a little update on that? And she orchestrates all of my pipeline just as well as she orchestrates the linear project management. This is insane help. You could even have it write like follow-up emails as draft, so you can manually send them. Because these are all extremely high value targets, you can tone down the automation and give it a bit more love, and personal care. This is the last level, how to take them, from being leads to customers. In between, I would say I still have Stripe, for the people who are booking entry-level products or workshops. They often don't need to talk to me beforehand because we built the trust through the organic content engine and the events, that they know what they're getting into. And just the ones for the higher tickets, or maybe have questions, is this the right thing for me? Can I bring a friend? They book a call with me and they end up in the Attio CRM system. All right, so that is Attio. This is the last thing here. This is the Vibe marketing stack. And if you are on the article, then you can at the bottom pick your own stack. If you want to choose my favorites, you can just click a button at the top, but you can choose all of your favorite tools in each category or just add one that is not on the list. And what this enables for you is to scroll further down and see your entire stack in one overview, and it generates a prompt that you can take to your ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and have a deep discussion of how this vibe marketing stack makes sense for your business. So it's really worthwhile coming to this article. That's it. That's all I wanted to share with you. But if you want to take this one step deeper, we always have free events coming up. So, for example, every month we do a growth lab that is focused on topics like what we discussed today. And they're just the community comes together in a Zoom call, discusses the latest thing. And then we have the Builder Lab, where we focus more on the product development and vibe coding part of things. And those two events have corresponding workshop series that we run once a quarter. So on April 1st, for example, we run the 6-week-long Builder Forge, which teaches you how to vibe code. And then after that, we have the Growth Forge, which teaches you how to take this newly vibe coded SaaS product and position that in the marketplace and build a customer acquisition engine. Very close to what we created here, but with much more detail, a small group, a video course, and then weekly 2-hour workshops where we go in the absolute depth and answer all of your questions. I would love to have you on board with this, get all of your questions answered, and I hope to see you in the next Captain's Insights. Bye-bye.